Welcome to the CEO of Destiny podcast, where you will find the tools to fulfill the purpose of your generation and wildly succeed in the marketplace. And now your host, Andre J. Benjamin.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to CEO of Destiny podcast. This is your host, Andre J. Benjamin. I am glad and delighted to have everyone here today, and I'm going to be discussing in this episode, we will talk about education, real-world education. Real-world education. What does real-world education mean to the CEO of their own destiny? What does it mean if we are looking to be change agents, if we're looking to be agents of change rather than victims of change? How do we look at our education? If you were to ask most children, I actually had an interesting discussion with a group of young people regarding education. Most of them look at it when they hear, especially during holiday seasons, things get to become real spotty. So their teachers might tell them, you know what, this week we're going to be celebrating X holiday, or there's going to be 2 in-service days today, so there is no school, and you will have a light workload. So kids are celebrating. I was the same way. I'm like, yay, no work. Oh, that means more video games, more TV time. I mean, nowadays it's probably more phone time because they're never off their phones. Do we ever go off? There actually was a good book called Always On that was by the editor of Wired magazine, where he outlined how the Apple iPhone created this new world where people were always connected. They were always on. You go into most households in neighborhoods, and you walk through neighborhoods, and you used to see kids out playing in the neighborhood, connecting with each other until the street lights came on. That's how I grew up. But nowadays you walk through and nobody's out on the streets most of the time, especially during the fall, and all you see is that eerie blue glow coming from the windows, coming through the windows, and people gathered around screens. So needless to say, things have shifted. But most kids, when they hear this, it's almost like a holiday in their mind. They go on holiday at all times. You're living for the weekend. It's almost as if the current schooling system programs us to prepare to live our lives for the weekend. 5 days of work for a 2-day trade-off of rest. So you live to get to Wednesday. I hate Mondays, and then it's Wednesday. It's called Hump Day, and then it's TGIF. Thank God it's Friday. And when I was a kid, they had a lineup on a television network with all the TGIF shows that my younger brother used to really get into. But that mindset of getting to Friday, making it to Wednesday. Then after Wednesday, just a couple more days left, and then you drag into. Then you get Friday, and you come alive again. Then you have Saturday, and Saturday is kind of the sleep-in party day, or whatever. Sunday is some people's grocery day or recovery day. I don't know what they're doing, but then you're back to Monday. Well, with that being said, most people are always looking to get out of being in school. School is seen as a necessary evil, and education is seen as a punishment. Well, I think that's done a disservice. What does real-world education look like? Real-world education, we talked about in an earlier episode, was education comes from the root word educe, which means to draw out, to call forth, to lead forth. So to develop, to cultivate. True education is based in drawing out of these full vessels. There's a scripture that says, the heart of a man is deep waters, and the man of understanding draws it out. Ecclesiastes 3 tells us that God has set eternity in our hearts, yet man cannot fathom it from beginning to end. We cannot fathom the eternity that's been set in our hearts. There's something in us that longs for something more than what we have. So we have this desire. The Bible also says wisdom is the principal thing. Get wisdom. In all you're getting, get an understanding. It also tells us to take responsible for our knowledge. He says, my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. A lack of revelation knowledge. So we have all these admonishments in scriptures to not stay ignorant, but to go. If you will seek, you will find. If you will ask, you will ask, seek, and knock, and the door will be open. There is a diligence that has to be on our part. So who's responsible for your education? Well, the CEO of Destiny knows that I'm responsible for my education. And the perspective that we have is that we're not getting through school to take standardized tests to get a good grade so that we can go to a good college and then go get a good job. We're saying I am getting information that is formulating my character, helping me refine my gift, my God-given gift, which opens up doors for me because it says that a gift, that the gift will take us before kings. The gift will open up doors. If you see a skill for a person, you take your gift and you apply some skill to it. They will not serve in obscurity, but before kings. My gift makes room for me. My schooling doesn't make room for me. My gift makes room for me. So I've got to take schooling and direct it around not only my gift refinement, but also looking to solve problems with getting real world applicable skills. So I'm responsible for my education. You're responsible for your education. I'm responsible for figuring out what are the problems that people need solved. I'm responsible for figuring out the solutions. If I'm looking at technology and I'm looking at the changes that are happening in technology, the opportunities for personalization, you see things like the Fitbit, and you see things where people are concerned with their health and they're making all these innovations for people to personalize, even down to medicine. What about education? People are personalizing education and differentiated instruction and figuring out people's learning styles and their abilities and figuring out how can we cultivate a classroom. People are operating with what is known as the flipped classroom, and then you see the homeschooled and the unschooled and the private schooled and the public schooled and the charter school. So many Montessori. There's so many different types of education and schooling that are available for us. So schooling and education are two different things. Education is that process of drawing out your God-given gift, refining it and applying it to the real world. And schooling is the process through which you're enduring, going through having curriculum administrated to you, given to you, that you're developing social skills. You're with people, learning how to work together, how to problem solve, how to do group projects, how to do things of that nature. Good, effective schooling should do that. So a real world CEO has the mindset of a chief executive officer of their destiny says, I am responsible for my education. I'm taking the ownership. And I am a lifelong learner. I'm not a seasonal learner that does it for K through 12. And then I do, the post-secondary education. And I go through university and then I get a degree, or I go get another advanced degree because I don't know what to do. And when you're choosing your major, and when you came out with your major and your minor, did you gain the skills that people were looking for? Did you solve problems? Did you do internships in the summer? These are things that I encourage people to think about. If you're young and you're listening to this and you're trying to figure out, what do I do with my life? If you find yourself in a job that's somewhat of a dead end, well, get skills that matter. Learn how to code. Learn how to develop code. Learn how to grow food. Learn all the breakthroughs that are happening in agriculture. Some people are calling the food the new internet, which means there's a lot of opportunity to learn about how to steward the soil, how to cultivate the soil, how to develop it, how to get food to people that is fresh and without all of the harmful things that are in them. What about people with all of these allergies and all of these challenges, people who have gut disorders and all type of hindrances with their diet? Could you create personalized menus? Could you create options for them? Could you create products that help people in the culinary arts? What about building and manufacturing? You see these developments in technology with 3D printing and nanotechnology. Tremendous opportunities before us. People even printing up houses and putting houses together. And people printing out limbs and organs. There's a lot of opportunity for us to solve problems. Real world solutions to real world problems. So when you're getting an education, our mindset is to draw out. Our mindset is to draw out our gift. If you have opportunity to get into media or fashion, how can you formulate fashion that would be a blessing to people? How could you change the perception of people who may see themselves as not needing to go and spend a gazillion dollars on a shirt? Well, that might be your market. No disrespect to people that get that type of clothing and like that type of fine clothing. That's a market for someone. But if you're trying to reach another consumer, how do you reach them? How do you get out? How do you design clothing? How do you create garments that would array people with a sense of dignity and a sense of culture and stature that is beautiful? So these are all challenges for us when we're thinking about curriculum, when we're thinking about education, when we're thinking about schooling. Are we looking at it for false skills that don't matter? Are we going and taking classes that they tell us that we should take? Are we experimenting with our life? Your life is not an experiment. Yeah, fail fast, do experiments, take calculated risk for a private profit. That's what an entrepreneur is. One who takes calculated risk for a private profit. One who is not scared to iterate. One who is not scared to fail. One who can learn, from their mistakes. and take action and get better and better. One who gets with other people and gets the feedback and has a constant feedback loop to get better. So this episode was meant to take another inventory. Once again, I know you're like, why are we always examining ourselves? Because I think we can always get that much better. I think we can grow, like Luke 2:52 says, in wisdom and in stature and in favor with God and men. I think we can really become refined. I think we can really grow and go from faith to faith and from glory to glory. I think the marketplace is waiting for the sons of God to be revealed, that there can be a light and a culture, that daughters and sons emerge that have heaven's culture in their lives, and they manifest real world solutions, real world attitudes and attributes that would transform our society. We have an open window, and it's time for us to organize. It is time for us to live strategically. It is time for us to go and to bring an impact of blessing. That culture will never, ever be the same, but that heavenly culture will be spread into the marketplace. So until next episode, I hope this was a blessing. Go to the website, ceofdestiny.com. Give us feedback. Go ahead and join the mailing list. Get the resources and the tools that are available for purchase. Go check them out. Buy a book. Get a resource. Sign up, get the free downloads. We need your feedback. Subscribe to the podcast, review the podcast, and let others know about it. If you hated it, let's keep it our secret until we speak again. Blessings upon you. Shalom, shalom.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. Do us a favor. If this was useful in any way for you, please go to iTunes and leave us a review. Reviews will allow others to easily discover the podcast. If you'd like more information and to receive a free download, rediscover your destiny, go to ceofdestiny.com. Thanks again, and tune in next time.